Hey, what's up guys? A lot of you have been asking for a hair tutorial, so I'm gonna be providing, okay? They call me the provider. Nobody calls me the provider. Okay, we're gonna be going over straight hair, curly hair, wavy hair, braids, more hair, okay? All the hairs. Plus, I'm actually gonna teach you how to render them in like a super simple and easy way that actually looks good, so that you're not just creating some wet ramen noodle hair. Unless you want that, and in that case, you're doing great. Keep up the good work. Okay, one thing you can do to fix all of your hair immediately is to just make everyone bald. Okay, nah. First thing to actually do if you're a beginner sack of meat is to understand how the skull is shaped, okay? Basically, we got a little sphere with a little extra on the back, a little dumpy to the skull. And what a lot of beginner sacks of meat will do is that they'll forget to add that little extra bulge at the back. And so already when you put down the hair, you're giving a hairdo to a skull that belongs to a Neanderthal. But unfortunately, we've evolved into the 21st century with large, round, bulbous craniums. Homo big ass craniums. Okay, so we're actually going to start off with some straight hair examples, and let's break it down. Straight hair should be the easiest because there's not many things to break down, and usually the hair flows all in one direction. Oh, and would you look at that, this Asian woman has the simplest of simple straight hairstyles. Literally two shapes, one for the front of the head, those two parts, and then one for the sides, or two shapes if you want to divide by left and right. And if you couldn't tell, you want to focus on the general shape of the hair before you actually start going into details. Oh my goodness, what a revolutionary tip. Big butt, what is the general shape? If you're a beginner sack of meat, you probably don't understand what shape is general. Like, is this the general shape, or is this it? The main thing to think about when looking at shapes is the actual direction of the hair. If a clump of hair is going off in its own direction, like one direction, the band, I'd count that as another shape. And so each major change in hair direction can get its own shape. Now don't take this like super seriously. Like, if a hair clump is like 9 degrees obtuse of another hair strand, don't make that another shape. Be sensible with it, okay? And since I keep my sketches pretty rough, since I don't got time for that line art schnaz, I literally draw the minimum shapes required to actually get the overall hairdo. But if you like more details, you can experiment with triangles and these little V shapes cutting into the hair to get you that more detailed look that you might want on your sketch. But me, personally, sometimes I'll literally just draw the silhouette of the hair and then call it a day, because I want to get to the rendering faster. Like, I ain't got time for all that. Now with that said, now that we have the sketches down, let's get to the actual rendering. For rendering, if you master this one technique, if you master this rendering technique, I think you could render any type of hair. And the technique is literally just opacity control. So I'm gonna take a round brush and first tap in my first color going in the direction of the hair strands. But I'm not just pressing down firmly, okay? I'm like getting in some light taps in. Then with the same amount of pressure, I stroke even more and then I add strands in. Basically, we're creating really nice layers just by lowering the opacity strokes, and then so they stack on top of each other and get this really cool like different strands layering effect. And you really want to make sure that you're stroking in the same direction of the hair on the reference. Pause. That's why it's really important to get a good understanding of which direction the hair is going in on your hair shapes. Okay, the next thing to understand about hair is how actually light interacts with it. A rookie mistake is for people to draw highlights super concentrated, okay? For most types of hair, the light doesn't provide this harsh highlight, but it provides more of like a blown out, softer area. Obviously with stylist effects you can change that, but you have to know what you're doing first. And in this case, this Asian woman has like a really glossy, shiny hair look going on, so it's even more apparent of this effect. This time I grasp my pen a little bit harder to put down this lighter area, and then again I go in with my darker color, and then with a little bit more firm of a grasp I go back in and restroke to get that nice beautiful texture back in. Finally, I'm using the smudge tool to give that blown out highlight that we want. And with that, it's literally looking really good. To get that final 10% done, you just want to add, like, you want to add strands of hair that stray away from the actual body of the hair to make it look more natural. Alright, next hairstyle. Okay, so we got our boy with a little spiky straight hair action. He got the fade too. Sheesh! Alright, enough of that. This straight hair obviously has some work onto it. It's been ran through some pomade, some gel maybe. So we got our work cut out for us a little bit more. To define the shapes here, remember each different direction gets its own different shape. So you got the side, the swoop in the back right there. Again, to start out, I'm plopping in the first couple strokes with some light taps. But this time, since the hair is a lot more textured, there's going to be a lot of smaller and a lot more brush strokes. Still following the direction of the hair on this ref, you can see just how small my brush becomes, especially at this back section where the hair is less clumped up. And then again, I'm smoothing out the strokes with the smudge tool, and I'm really just sort of smudging free flow, a little random, just so a couple of hard edges are left back in. You can't just be having a complete smooth gradient for hair. All right, and look, we got some pretty great flow to the hair already. 90% of it is done, but obviously it's missing that texture. So then I go back with lighter strands that contrast against the dark spots and repeat the layering process. And again, I'm making sure to follow the shape and direction of the hair shapes on the reference. And so now I could refine even more, but you know, that's up to you of how much detail you want and how realistic you want your hair to be. But again, for me, I ain't got the time. Okay, moving on to wavy hair. Oh damn, it's looking a little scary. I mean, look at all this detail I'm gonna have to paint in. But trust me, with the techniques we've learned, it's gonna be easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's enough. I'm gonna get copyright striked if I do any more. But yeah, we're gonna get it done lickety split here. So this time, instead of putting down like a short straight stroke, we're gonna want to follow that curve a little bit. So this time, instead of following the direction of the hair to like a T for some shapes, you can be a little bit more loosey-goosey with it, okay? So some shapes you usually find are like these like L shapes and these like waves like this, okay? A cashew, think of any like bean or like nut, they do a pretty good wavy shape. So this one, we're gonna have our base really dark just so you can see the flow of the strokes that I'm putting down. As you can see, like the low opacity layering still does wonders, but you want to pay extra attention to the shapes because it's easy to make all like the waviness flow downwards, but as you can see in the reference, you got some hair going side to side, up and down, left to right. I already said that by side to side, but it's okay. So just make sure you're firmly grasping the way the hair is moving. The principle is the same with curly hair, like you do want those edges and shapes to be defined. So at this stage in the rendering, I'm really just firmly grasping my pen and applying full opacity to carve out some of those curls. And also at this stage, you shouldn't be reaching for a lot of new colors that much. Mostly just color pick from the colors you put down from the beginning, because at this stage you should be refining, and so you can't really refine when you're still thinking about coloring and stuff. I find it's just some unnecessary extra layer of difficulty personally. Obviously, if you fumbled your color scheme in the beginning, then yeah, you might have to do a little artistic surgery with adjustments and stuff, or you can just nuke the rendering and start again. And lastly, since there's a lot of direction changes, you're gonna see a lot more stray hairs and hairs that's not in a clump, so you can just come in and put some nice crisp lines for them ones. Oh, another thing y'all could do for not just wavy hair, but like for most types of hair, is to just make the hairs that are outside of the main body of follicles wispy and light. So you can just lightly tap those hairs with an eraser so that they're a little bit more transparent, and it gives you like a nice reality check. Because you know, when light passes through individual hairs, that hair lets some of the light through. Alright, we can check off wavy hair. Now for that super curly stuff. So what I want you to do first is to just forget everything that I said and start anew. Not for real, but for real, I approach curly hair way differente to compared to all the other types of hair. So let's do an analysis, okay? Take a look at these 3 types of hair. This person has the loosest curls, or should I say, like, you can see like each wave curl strands like more clearly. Sorry for my terrible hair terminology, but you know, I have yet to unlock such a vocab as a man. One day I'll learn. But anyways, if we move on to this woman, you can see that her hair is like way more tightly curled, so it's really hard to understand like the actual direction any particular hair is going. And so how do you follow the direction of the hair that you don't know of? It's like me stepping in my high school for the first time. I'm lost. Well, since you can't follow like the direction of each hair, I think for these super tight curls, we just need to focus on the actual texture instead of going for like the super accurate shape. Obviously, you need to get a silhouette down, but inside that bulbous hair area, you kind of just give the illusion of hair texture. But curly hair itself varies like a lot, so if we look back at this woman, you can see a lot of texture, okay? But you can also see some indication of direction, and this woman even more so. So I'll show you how I approach each one. Okay, so far everything has been done with a round brush because I wanted to make things super simple, easy, and accessible for art noobsters. But I will say having some sort of textured brush slash non-round brush will make getting the hair texture like way easier for this type of really dense curly hair. But since I like pain, I'm gonna try and use as little of my brush set as possible, sticking to just the round and the chalk. So the way I think about this texture is that like we got these like blobs of hair locks, and between them is like a deep shadow. A super simple texture that you can do is to just have like these parallel blobs. We got like this parallelogram blob that's in light, and the creases in between the parallelogram shapes are dark. You can look at these Sanders Arts portraits to see like the easy texture that I'm talking about. And like I said before, you don't have to think too hard about the direction of the shapes, but just like the texture within them. I mean, just as a showcase of how easy it could be using a textured brush, I just add a little bit of randomness here, and then add this like stringy brush, and then boom, and then add a sprinkle of sauce, and there you have it. Literally, like, that was done in under 2 minutes. You are so mad right now that you don't have these brushes. Don't worry, I'll have a brush pack out for you guys soon. Okay, so curly hair like this, where there's a lot more direction showing. Woohoo! Your direction is showing. Okay, but so the texture I like to put on this type of hair is basically I take like a lighter color from the base, draw like any sort of slight curves, like a cashew shape, okay, and then I take a darker color and carve like a gaping circle into one side of the cashew, and so you get this really cool texture with just the round brush for curly hair. So let's take a look at a recent painting that I did, okay? Like the hair on this character isn't quite the same as the original girl we were looking at, but she still has like the loose-ish curl, so I guess it still works. So as you can see, I already have some of like that circle texture already, but as I progress, I start focusing less on the cashew shapes and just more on adding those dark circles in between to get the texture that I'm looking for. And then as I keep rendering, my brush also starts to get a little smaller, so you know, more of the big shapes into small shapes type beat. And finally I start adding some literally just some curly squiggles to show some individual hair strands that show. No, near like the outside edge of the silhouette, you can see like those individual hair strands that stick out way more because it isn't like clumped up against a whole bunch of other follicles. And then boom, after adding like a couple more layers of details and pizzazz, we got loosey-goosey curly texture. And just remember, this extra pizzazz is at the end was literally just final touches, plus a little bit of my art style. But I'm able to do it because I have practice and experience in it. However, just with the cashew, the circles, and the squiggles, you can get like to the 90% mark, and then you can add your own style for that 10% of pizzazz and texture. And for this middle woman here, you want to copy the cashew and circle like techniques, but try and add more elements to indicate some direction. Like instead of a cashew, maybe your first stroke is like I don't know, a bent log. Dude, my vocabulary is insane. Alright, finally, let's get to some braids. And there's many more types of braids that can interlock, and so I guess we're gonna have to be a little bit more general and quick with how you draw braids. So the most common braid that I see is this braid where you start off with a zigzag and then you like add these curves that go upwards. You can get away with literally like a tube on a curved line, but there's a couple main things that you could do to capture any type of braid. So obviously the creases of a braid will be the darkest and have the most amount of shadow, and then the main hair part would be lighter. Then from a reference, or depending on the type of braid you got, you can draw some strands that follow the flow of the braid. So for this braid, like, it just loops the curve we made for the outer edge. For other braids, you can get away with literally just a solid color. And that's basically all I got. I will say though, please use a reference if you got a specific style in mind. It will literally make your life 1,000 times easier, and because you're not stumbling to find out which direction a hair strand needs to go or like something like that. Like for this entire vid, I always had a hair reference with me. Like even if you got a super specific type of hairstyle that you got that you don't know the name of, or you don't got the exact look, every hair like falls into the same straight, curly, you know, braided type of category. So at least look at a reference that's like close to it so that you have something. With that said, hopefully with some practice you'll be able to draw any type of hair that you want, and hopefully this video helped. If you liked the video, make sure you go subscribe, and I'll see you next video.